What is up, you guys? It is me, SEC. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I am a huge reader. I don't know about y'all. You probably are if you're watching this video, but I love reading. I love to read fiction, nonfiction, fantasy, rom-coms, Christian help, self-help, like anything and everything. I just love to read. And that love of reading has grown over the years to the point where I now read anywhere from 100 to 150 books a year. So for this video to be about one specific book, you know it was a very good book. So my very favorite book that I have read in 2024 and probably in the past couple years at least is The Insanity of God by Nick Ripken. This book was so challenging and impactful that I ended up recommending it to my friends, my family, like literally anyone that would sit still long enough to listen and read about this book. It was recommended to them. So now I get to recommend it to y'all. This is not a book that came out this year, but I did read it this year and it was just so good. I originally picked it up because I had heard that it was about a missionary, and I love reading more and more about missions and people's experiences and everything like that. And so I picked it up, but then as I was reading it and like continuing on, I was like, this is so much bigger than just missions. This is so much bigger than just one person's story. This is a challenge and an encouragement to the entire body of believers. So I ended up getting my mom to read it alongside me, and then some people in my small group also ended up reading it, and we all just really were encouraged and challenged by it. So it basically starts off talking about Nick and his family going and being missionaries in a very hardened area called Somalia, and they're there for years and like dedicating their lives to serving the Lord, but there's just such great persecution that time after time their friends and family are being martyred for Christ, and they're not seeing the fruit of their labor. And so he gets to be just so discouraged, and something ended up happening. I'll let you read the book to find out, but something happened that basically was a catalyst for him that ended up, he left Somalia and went around the world interviewing these churches that were in areas of such great persecution, to learn from them and to kind of see, well, what is different in this situation than back where I'm from, or what can we apply to this area. And there's just so many good things in this, talking about how faith can grow, and it is almost encouraged to grow in our persecution, and how we as believers it's not just an option, but it is almost a requirement at times that persecution is going to happen, but it's our choice of how we will react to that persecution. And a couple of the things that really stood out to me was there was these two brothers that had gone into prison for their faith, but they were young and in their faith, and they came out and said, we see these great men and women who have come before us that have been in prison, and they've strengthened their faith, and their faith has grown, but we didn't share in prison. We didn't grow in our faith, because you can only grow in persecution what you brought in. So if you are reading your scripture and you have that, you can grow in your faith in that. If you've got a strong prayer life while you are living your day-to-day, and then persecution comes, that can be strengthened. But if you don't have it when you come in, it's hard to grow something that you don't even have the seed of. So that was one really impactful thing. And the major quote for this book was, do not ever give up in freedom what we would never give up in persecution. And it was specifically talking about scripture and stuff like that, but it's so applicable to every aspect of our daily lives. It's very easy to take for granted that not everyone is given such a great privilege. So rather than waking up and just turning our phones on in the morning, we get the privilege and opportunity to actually read our word first thing in the morning without having the fear of someone staring us down or the fear of being arrested. So this book really put into perspective a lot of things that, as 21st century, first world problem Christians, it's very easy for us to take for granted, and it put in perspective some of the things that we may not always appreciate, but we have been given such a privilege that we should take advantage of the gifts that we have been given. We should take advantage, and to also encourage and pray for those that are currently in persecution, that we may not be able to be as hands-on as we would like, but we still have the gift and power of prayer. And it was so cool because in one of the chapters, it was talking about this church, and Nick was going to it and trying to learn from them, and he was telling them about some of the places that he has previously been, and although they were persecuted, they began praying for other churches around the world, because they were like, there's so many more people out there that are way, way worse off than we are. And that's the perspective we should have, that we have been given such a great privilege that even when trials come, even when times are hard, we are the body of believers. We can gather together and be strengthened in the persecution. We can grow our faith in it if we choose to follow that route, or we can choose to be all pouty and upset about how things are not going the way we want it to. So I highly, highly encourage each and every one of you watching to read The Insanity of God by Nick Ripken. It is a very, very good book that will, like I said, encourage and challenge our faith. So yes, if you have read a really, really good book this year, then please feel free to put that in the comment section down below, and maybe we can grow our TBR list together. If you enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks you'll like this video, and maybe check out this playlist as well. I hope you guys have a very happy new year, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.